going to be intense. It's going to be quick. It's going to be fast, furious. I mean, pretty much any adjective you could throw at it, aside
Yeah.
from boring.
Chaos, I think, might be the order of the day. We know today that we are not getting any restarts either on the race. So if we do have any kind of incident, we're going to have a lot of people trying to make up a lot of time if there's any incidents off the start. So yeah, a lot of new faces and all new cars as well. Let's not forget, CTC is one of these championships in Assetto Corsa where the drivers build their cars. So a lot of getting used to that. And a lot of people probably run a lot of laps before this to try and get used to something, especially if they're driving something different to last season.
I know we had the practice race about a week or two ago at Brands Hatch, just doing some trial runs. So some drivers were getting used to some of these cars that are on the grid. Like you said, a lot of drivers they build a car essentially from the ground up. So it's a lot different compared to the other series you may just happen to see. A lot of them do tend to stick to like GT3s, GT4s, some kind of endurance race, but here, I mean, we take a bit of a different approach, and honestly, it is an approach I'm all game for.
Yeah, and it's because obviously this is the first CTC race that's been broadcast. In case people don't know, it is two categories, so we have varying pace there, but also within the categories themselves, we've got front-wheel drive cars, rear-wheel drive, four-wheel drive cars. So the dynamic and cars that are quicker on the straights, other ones will be quicker in the corners. When you see the grid, you'll understand, there are massive cars, tiny cars, 2 doors, 4 doors. It's all sorts that are coming together into this series and racing against each other, which makes it brilliant. And here we go.
Indeed, yeah, and I'm honestly really looking forward to how this is going to play out, because like you said, there's so many different cars, there's so many different body shapes, styles, drivetrains, engines, you name it. There's so much variety, and I am one of the biggest benefactors
We're underway here. Sorry to cut you. We are underway. Obviously, it doesn't make a note of it in Assetto Corsa. So
I might have to rejoin the session because it is not updated on my end yet.
We've got plenty of time here. I'll try and keep an audio log of what's going on here. Apologies for the technical difficulties, everybody. You should still be able to hear my commentary. We've got Ismael Rodriguez leading, I believe, from pole position. Pennington in the Jag in second. We've got Fred Borden in the extremely old Supra running here in third. Fairly by the numbers and not too bad through the first few corners. We've got the GTR leading the way. I know for a fact Rodriguez before this race has been not all too happy with the skyline leading up into this weekend, but he seems to be making pretty well of it at the moment. Still leading as we head down to the Melbourne Loop, but it looks like Pennington's there's been an incident. We've had Pennington and Rodriguez come together. Pennington's actually waiting for Rodriguez to rejoin as we head down into the loop. Rodriguez falling well down here. And that means Borden in the ancient Supra takes the lead. We finished lap 1, remember, no restarts today, as I mentioned.
Indeed, yeah. So right now, on the perspective of Fred Baldwin, we did manage to get back ready to race here. Apologies for the quick technical difficulties that we did experience.
Turn two.
Ooh, some spicy stuff happening here between these drivers as we continue just to go on with the race. I mean, it is just chaos here in the opening stages of round 1 here at Donington.
So it could happen, didn't I?
You did say that indeed, Sam. I mean, right now, Fred Baldwin does have a pretty good gap at the moment. A lot of these, actually, just taking a look at it, I think every single driver in the CT450 class is running on that medium tire. As we go check that out real quick. Yeah, so everybody is on the medium tire except for 2 of them. Matty Shepard and Peter Ertl are currently on the hard tire compound, as Jacob Phillips has disconnected from the session.
Let's see how Ertl does on this tyre then, if we just head on board with him. Got a bit of a gap ahead of him, so I think for him it's probably going to be, can he keep Judge, Ishima and Saavedra behind? We've got a little bit of a battle. I think Ishima's going to be wanting to make progress, because that Nissan is quick. Obviously we saw it leading the race. until Rodriguez was taken out. Not sure if we caught that on camera, but look at that Supra making all sorts of shapes out of the Melbourne loop there with Judge.
Yeah, he's...
Although the Supra has to be driven like that.
I mean, he's given the old college try. You gotta give him credit for that, as Martin Judge is still trying to go ahead and put some pressure, or even just trying to keep the car facing in the right direction. So he's got pressure coming in from behind.
Definitely a bit of a train here, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, it's good because, I mean, some of these cars do have some more aerodynamic shapes compared to the others, as we do see a pass just directly behind one of the Renaults going in and making a strong pass here. And as we just see these cars just make their way through this Donington Park circuit. And I mean, there's a lot to play for here. And it's early stages. It's only lap 3 here out of 25. So, and oh, look at this. We have I think that's one of the FSOs going super wide,
Whoa.
I believe. Oh,
are they still on track, or have they...
They managed to rejoin.
Move here with Toscanini as well as we head into McLaren's. The 300s are getting very rowdy back here.
Yeah, so I mean, it's
the RX-7.
The Porsche is going to try to make the move here, trying to go ahead and get past, as that is Mayonnaise. It was Mayonnaise earlier who I think had the incident earlier on, which is a hilarious name. You love to see it. You love to see drivers having fun here. If you're not having fun while you're racing, then you're just not doing it right. Mayonnaise doing the right thing, though, to get a move done onto Piafort Stefanik. Just going in and getting the move done as he's trying to chase after his fellow Renault, the Windows Renault of Terry Nutt. As you're saying?
Yeah, definitely trying to get that launch out of the Melbourne loop now as we head down into the final corner. Not quite got the legs as we head down into this airpit, I've got to say. That Peugeot is not the most powerful thing in the world.
Yeah, it's...
But hanging on, and I think quicker through the first and second sectors here, so we'll have to see. Look how much that car gets away from O'Days on the straight, though.
Yeah, that is insane work here for these drivers. I mean, there's a lot of battles here. I'm on board with Ismael Rodriguez right now. He's trying to put pressure using that R32 Skyline against Martin Judge.
Back as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, these drivers are trying their hardest to try to get these positions. In the early stages of the race here, we're still seeing a lot of pressure, and I mean, it's really hard to see where to keep your eyes on because there's battles happening all over the grid in all sorts of classes. I mean, Stefanik, who is in the 300, is trying to go ahead and put pressure on the car and currently in P16.
Yeah, and I'm keeping an eye on Rodriguez here as well because he's going to be driving angry. Race leader, pole position, he's going to be trying to get back to where he feels he should be. Not sure how much damage he'll have on the rear of that Skyline. He's got a very good run out of the chicane here.
Indeed, so we're just going to go on and watch. Is he going to try to put a move on the Martin Judge here in the corner? He's going to be late on the brakes. You can see the smoke. And he's going to get, is it going to be a pass one, get one for free? Yes, he does. He gets two for the price of one.
And Pennington as well.
Indeed, yeah, he's got actually 3 for the price of 1. Look at this back here. Contact between Martin Judge and Marcus Pennington. The Jaguar and Toyota coming to blows here on lap 5, soon turning into lap 6.
Yeah, that was a very, very audacious move there up the inside, and we got the Supra defending again from Pennington. But Rodriguez, yeah, doing that double overtake. I'm not sure it meant to be a double overtake when he first made that dive. Jag sticking its nose in again.
Yeah,
just about.
This is a very, very close battle between these drivers. Riding on board now with the Jaguar getting so close to contact with that Toyota Supra just up the road. The Supra's into the grass a bit there. As he's
got a bad run.
Very bad run indeed as they make their way through the circuit. Are we going to see a potential overtake here onto Peter from Martin? Not quite. There was a look, but just not quite enough real estate to get that job done.
No, but Pennington, again, was also up there at the start. You know, Pennington was second, so again, another car which probably feels like he wants to be further up the field than where he is. And I think he's going to want to try and dispatch Judge as quickly as possible. He's going to try around the outside, he's heading to the chicane. Good braking from Toyota, but it's going to cost him. And a bit of a corner cut there from Pennington.
I know that...
make it done here.
I know Jaguar has a good amount of prestige when it comes to motorsports as he finally gets that overtake done, but it's going to be a switchback for the Toyota. Martin Judge is going to go ahead and just say, Not today. I'm keeping that position for right now, and he does keep that position. Excellent pass, but they're now side by side going through, and this battle is hard to tear your eyes away from. But after a long, hard-fought battle, Marcus Pennington has that position for now, and he's ready to go ahead and try to tackle the Mercedes 190 of Peter Ertl.
Yeah, I think Pennington, quick in quali, we'll have to see how the race pace stacks up, but definitely been getting amongst it today. And we're only a few laps in, only on lap 6 now here. But it does look to me like Ertl does not have the pace of Rodriguez. I mean, look how much Rodriguez has got away back up the road again.
It does help that that car is all-wheel drive, so one of the first racing cars to really popularize all-wheel drive. I mean, in the real world, that car dominated Group A racing because of its all-wheel drive system. It can just get such better exits through the corners and have a lot more stability than some of the cars behind it. So I'm not really surprised to see that this R32 is a very strong car. But another car that's really strong and that's had a very good lead throughout this race is the Toyota Supra of Fred Bawden.
Yeah. And it's there was actually, I believe, the Toyota team wanted to bring a new chassis into this season of CTC, because this is the previous year's car, and it started to get a little bit outdated. I mean, if you just compare it to some of the other things on the grid, I mean, it looks more dated, and for whatever reason, they've decided to stick with this Supra this year. Obviously, there is a new generation of Supra they could have gone with, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I mean, clearly, because Fred Bawden just got the fastest lap of the race. So, I mean, he's making moves in that dated chassis. If we want to talk about a car that is kind of dated, the car currently sitting in P3 right now of Matty Shepard, the Volvo. I mean,
definitely,
that thing is essentially a fossil compared to the car it's trying to chase down with that BMW of Salami there.
Yeah, you got to give Volvo a pass, though, because they do love their bricks, and that will continue for some time.
They are very efficient bricks, I'll say that. I mean, I have a lot of respect, particularly for this Volvo. I mean, it is like, if you take a look at it aerodynamically, I mean, I feel like if you tilted a can of Monster Energy on its side, it'd have better aerodynamics than the Volvo. But seeing it in the hands of Matty Shepard in that number 27 car, I mean, look at it. Matty is pretty much just right up the gearbox of a much newer car.
Definitely got the speed on the straight, at least with the slipstream it has. Slipstream range in the Assetto Corsa, I must say, isn't the longest thing in the world, so the effect even from here will be quite minimal. But if you're right up behind someone, you really can make it work, even with a straight line speed deficit. But I think the Volvo definitely has some decent speed, at least down Starkey Straight there before the chicane.
It also sounds really nice too. I mean, just listen to how beautiful that sounds as it goes through the gears, trying to put pressure on the Salami there in that Volvo. I mean,
streaking away.
It is, and Fred Bawden is getting another fastest lap, a 1:34.644 to go ahead and top the table.
3 seconds quicker than P2 there.
Yeah, that is very insane. Actually, we have a really close battle here in the CT300s between Elaine Broust and Tyler Long. It's going to be a close one. It's the Rover versus the Volkswagen. And honestly, I'm glad to see Rover getting some love here because, I mean, honestly, before the series, I actually largely forgotten about Rover. But now we're seeing Rover here pretty much in a decent spot as we take a look at the overalls here. I mean, it's in 19th overall, but I mean, once again, we have to remember that these cars are pretty much racing in separate classes here. So,
yeah. And we may actually see a lot of lapping happening today. Obviously, Borden's very, very far up the road, and we've got people like Stefanik, which are only just now coming through the chicane. And Borden, yeah, here he's already making lappings already. He's already starting to lap people on lap 8. Just shows the difference. It's just a short track as well.
Indeed, yeah. So, just taking a look now as we see the battle. This is for P22 overall. Patricia Fleck under pressure from Piotr Stefanik, and they're going to go ahead and fight the battle of the small cars as they make their way through. They're going to, Piotr is going to think about a move here potentially, but once again, just not enough real estate. That door gets slammed shut. Patricia does not want any Girl Scout cookies, wants to keep the position, and so far Patricia has done just that.
Yeah, definitely holding on. I love that little Peugeot. It doesn't look like it should belong at the front of a group, but very, very British looking to me. Sort of, I associate these little Peugeots. I know they're French, but I do associate them with sort of 90s Britain.
I mean, they were pretty popular in British touring car racing for quite some time now, but Stefanik has really closed in that gap here. So, I mean, it's good racing so far. Patricia Fleck, I mean, then again, these two are 20 seconds behind Frajowski in P21. But look at this contact, and that's a bit of a rally cut if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
The position will like that to be given back, but there's Fred Bawden just right there in the back. A little bit of contact.
We've just had somebody off at turn 1. We've got Onays going through. I think on Jules Wild was the one who lost it there. So
yeah.
The 2 Peugeots now have just made up a couple of places up at the front of CT300 here. Yep, and he's still floundering there, Wild, trying to get back onto the track.
Indeed. We're actually on board with one of those aforementioned Peugeots, and the 2 Peugeots of Terry Nutt and Mayonnaise are going to go ahead and just try to claw their way up this order, as they're pretty much in P13 and P12 at the moment. They're going to try to chase that Ford that is just up the road of them. I mean, but take a look at Mayonnaise. Mayonnaise started in P18, has moved up 5 positions here on the day. And it's been a pretty solid run. I mean, making 5 positions up it's no small feat.
And clearly not done yet. Look at this, all over the back of the teammate. Is there going to be a move anytime soon? Are they going to be careful with each other, or do we think? I don't think they're going to be careful with each other, personally.
I think it's going to be just a move to the inside.
Oh, okay, team orders. Is that team orders right there?
I am not sure if that is team orders. But regardless, that is a move done as they go after the Saab now. That I actually called it Ford earlier. My apologies. But I kind of wish Saab was still around, honestly. They made some pretty neat cars back in the day. And even as like in the early 2010s, they made some pretty neat cars.
So yeah, we've got a Bjork up ahead in the Saab. Bjork is leading 300 at the moment.
Right.
Is that Shepard and
Army going through it. Side by side indeed, and making their way into the corner. We'll see if he can go ahead and get the move. Let's see if Salami can get this move done and dusted. The number 26 does. But look at this, Matty Shepard. I mean,
the drive.
That brick is very quick here. It is going to get a move done onto the inside. This thing is breaking the laws of physics for Volvos.
Oh, just about gave Army enough room there to just do the switchback. I feel like if Maddie had gone a little bit slower on the apex even there, they could have blocked Sal from coming through, and it's going to be the same again as we come through the last corner. If Army gets a good launch here, it's going to be a dive into turn 1, I feel. Yep, definitely, right up the back. Something's going to happen here.
Indeed. Salami started in 4th, but nope, decided not to go for the dive. I mean, we're not quite halfway through this race, so there's still a good amount of racing left to go here. So, I mean, maybe just thinking about management, because, I mean, I'm not sure exactly what the tire wear and the fuel wear is on these machines, but they gotta, that thought has to be at least in the back of their mind, that they gotta really start thinking about this fuel.
Yeah, definitely. I know, I mean, with so many rear-wheel drive cars on here, a track like Donington, it might not look like it's bad on tires, but there's so much energy going through them, through the first few curves, the crater curves, all the way down that hill. You are going to start running wide, you are going to start losing the rear, and then out of a corner like this, out of Coppice, you're lighting up the rears when your tires are gone. Just looking at the steering inputs now from Shepard, you're getting a lot of oversteer and sort of correction on the way out, which is only going to get worse as they go through the race.
Indeed, yeah, we're actually right on board for a bit for Matty. You can see just the mastery of throttle and brake being used to get to that chicane, and it is just masterful work here. Hard on the brakes, slowing down to about 35 miles an hour just to go ahead and get this through. Bit of a snap on corner exit. But, I mean, so far, Matty's been doing a really good job in this Volvo.
Definitely, and it's not like these two have just come across each other. They've been battling all race. It was Shepard behind to begin with, but with the two Pennington and Rodriguez both out of the picture, I don't think they expected to be battling for 2nd and 3rd today, but they are, and I think if either one of them can hold on to P2, they will leave here very, very happy. But don't count out Pennington yet, because Pennington is not too far back.
Indeed, yeah, Pennington. I mean, if there's one mistake that happens, like if there's a big wreck by any stretch, then this V12 Jaguar is going to be pretty much right up their exhaust pipes trying to get moves done here. Speaking of cars that are pretty close, Kadea Ishma is in the R32 trying to put pressure onto Peter up ahead in that Mercedes. The Skyline trying to make moves here, trying to make advantage or take advantage of the all-wheel drive system, just trying to go ahead and get moves done here. We'll see what he can do, but there's still a good amount of racing left to go. So, I mean, that's just the thing about racing. I know there's a lot of famous quotes, including, you know, if you no longer go for a gap that exists, then you're no longer a racing driver. But my counter argument to that is a good driver knows what is actually a gap or what looks like a gap, but is really not.
Yeah. I think a lot of the drivers on this grid take that quote to heart because they do go for gaps that do not exist. But that's what makes this series so fun.
I mean, you always gotta love and appreciate just hard-fought racing when you see it. And as we see, trying to get past one of the CT5 or CT300 cars. I know Nissan has a little bit of rally heritage, but I don't think they ever really used the R32 as a rally car, and I don't think Ishmael wants to start that heritage now, as we see the tire kind of clipping through the fender there.
Just taking a look at Saavedra at the moment, absolutely in no man's land. There's nobody in front, nobody behind as they come down to the penultimate corner. Just off the back of this group though, so if anything happens, hopefully that's pick up the pieces. Just thought I'd take a look at the Renault, to be honest, because that is one absolute beauty of a car, if I do say so myself.
I've always been intrigued by Renaults, because I'm from the U.S. and Renaults just do not exist over here unless you get one imported. I mean, I know technically Nissans and Mitsubishis are the same cars because they're all owned by the same company, but not from this time period. And I've always just loved this Renault in particular. It's always such a nice car. I've actually really wanted one. Beautiful heritage with these older Renault.
You guys never got the hot hatch. I'm not sure what you Americans were thinking, but you never got sort of the concept of the hot hatch and through the 80s and 90s. And if you look through this grid, there's so many of them. You know, we've even got I think we had a Volvo 480 at one point. We've got the Peugeot as well on this grid, and I think Americans tend to look at these, and the Renault 5 I think is the exception because look at this massive wide body kit, and it looks very desirable. But I'm not sure any Americans are pining for the Peugeots that we've got out here today.
Americans do like their big trucks. I will say that much. Although granted, I drive a hot hatch myself, so I do like smaller cars for the most part. Yeah, one of the few, right? But I mean, cars just from this era in general are just absolutely beautiful to look at. I mean, you have
some pit stops happening here. Sorry to cut in. We've had Borden's come into the pit and Rodriguez staying out, I believe. Shepard and Army yet to pit. So Borden really, honestly, not losing too much time from that pit stop at all. He's only 12.7 seconds off Shepard, which I feel is about the gap that he actually built before the stop. So very much safe at the moment, unless something bad were to happen. He has had a little bit of a struggle with traffic, as has Rodriguez just there dealing with 300s, but this is where things start to get a little bit messy in the middle of the race until they level themselves out when everybody's done with their stop.
Indeed, yeah, so just taking a look at just a gap to the leader. I mean, yeah, you're about right. About 12.6, 12.7 seconds roughly is that gap. But still, I mean, like I said, the pit stops, they'll sort themselves out as we see the net race leader pretty much just right behind, having to take a massive rally line there, trying to get past these CT300s, trying to get past the FSO.
Smooth sailing, is it?
Yeah, not exactly. Putting that car suspension to good use, but Rodriguez is pretty much just right behind.
Yeah, still to stop, of course. Rodriguez, unless there's some kind of zero-stop strategy going on here, which I doubt. Definitely not making it, especially since I think majority of the field are on mediums. But yeah, like they're very much struggling through that final corner. I wouldn't be surprised if, yes, he does come in into this lap.
Going in and jumping down to the GT300s here.
He's overshot his pit box there. Ooh. Rodriguez, he's had to back up and has lost maybe 2 or 3 seconds. So I'm not sure who he was battling. He might lose out to some of the guys that he would have dealt with. Getting himself up to fourth earlier.
Yeah, that's not ideal. I'm sure he would have loved to not do that. Gonna kind of put a damper on his race-winning efforts, but jumping down to the CT300s here, as Mayonnaise is trying to put pressure on the Jules Wild, although granted they are in two separate classes, so I know he wants to imagine that that is the little Peugeot that could, but trying to challenge a CT450 car is not exactly going to do you many favors.
I
but
mean, Wild's not
he's
doing
going to try
himself
it.
any favors right now. Wild with that defensive line, I mean, the car's got the power, so really shouldn't be thinking about what's going on behind and should be focusing on trying to make progress back up to the rest of the category, really.
Oh, big snap.
Big moment.
I think he's struggling on those tires. It has not been a great race for him. He started in 8th, and now he's just dropping like a stone through this pack. He's into the pits. I think those tires were more cooked than a marshmallow left by the fire for a bit too long.
Definitely. And probably going on to another set of mediums, I would have thought. Yeah, not a brilliant debut here for Wild.
But that's just sometimes what happens when you join a new series, when you try to get used to a new car, even if you've been in the series for a while. As Kyle McCain in that Jaguar tried to get a move done onto Kadej Ishma, didn't quite get the move done, but we do have a three-way battle here for P5 at the moment, but Salami into the pits and a few other cars jumping into the pits as well. So Kyle McCain is going to rise up the order a bit with Peter Ertl and Kadej Ishma into the pits. We do have
Ami out of the pits.
Yep, Ami's out of the pits and pretty much on a fresh set of tires, got some fuel I would assume, and now they're just going to go at it.
It looks to me like Rodriguez is the big loser out of all of this. Has gained a little bit of time on Salami, but I think has lost out the likes of McCain, unless McCain's out of position. I'm not sure if McCain's hit yet. We'll have to see when things level themselves out in a few laps. Obviously, people will go longer and try and get the better tyre life at the end of the race. I know for a fact Pennington hasn't yet pit, so I wouldn't be surprised if the other Jag hasn't either. Third and fourth for the moment, but I'd expect that to change.
I think my pit stop meter is wrong because it says Fred Baldwin hasn't pit yet, but it does say that Marcus has pit. So I think
he definitely has.
I think a better gauge is the tire life. Actually, even the tire life, because we know Fred pit, so I know that's not exactly accurate. But yeah, I mean, right now, just take a look at the laps. I mean, Fred Baldwin was about half a second quicker, not quite, but close to about half a second quicker than Matty Shepard, who is out in the lead of this race right now in that Volvo, just putting moves and just doing what needs to be done. Marcus does set the fastest lap of the race with a 1:34.068, so that's a very good lap for the Jaguar.
Yeah, which makes me think maybe Pennington has pit. Not sure where Shepard's going to come out. The pace seems to be a little bit all over the place today. It's you'd expect Shepard to be a lot slower than she is at the moment with these completely dead tyres, leading but still setting a really, really good pace. So maybe going for a bit of an overcut, or if not an overcut, then using the better life of the younger tyres at the end of the race to really get some quickest laps in. I would not be surprised to see Shepard getting some fastest laps in his last 5 laps or so of the race.
I honestly believe you just because of that pace of that Volvo. I mean, that thing, we were calling it a brick earlier, but I think a rocket is a bit more of a accurate description here. Trying to get up the inside of the Saab, trying to get past that traffic. The Saab had to back out, had to overcorrect, and I think that does leave a wide open position. The Volkswagen did get past as we go ahead and check in.
If we look at the gap, actually, when Borden came to the pits and Shepard into the pits now, actually, but the gap as Shepard came in was about 12.5 seconds, which is exactly what it was right after Borden came out of the pits. So Borden, despite being on the younger tyres, the brand new fresh tyres, has made up absolutely no time on Shepard in a space of about 5 laps.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting because, I mean, once again, we know that the Toyota is an older chassis, but I mean, that hasn't really stopped it, has it? Although granted, I mean, if we're saying that Fred Baldwin and the Toyotas, basically, we need to put their chassis in a retirement home, then we need to put Matty's in a museum because that Volvo is archaic, but still wicked.
I think sometimes it can just be as simple, and as someone who does and has raced on a Assetto Corsa before, done a little bit of touring cars, mostly open wheelers, but sometimes you can just put on a set of tyres and it just doesn't work. It could be the exact same as a set you just took off, and you think because they're fresh, because they're new, you should get more grip, but you could just be used to the way that the car is sliding on the older tyres, and when you bolt the new ones on, you're just not able to find the time that you expect. So I'm expecting that's probably what's happened with Borden here. Obviously, he's still got a very, very healthy lead, don't get me wrong. It's 8.3 seconds, but should have been probably 2 or 3 seconds more. Although I'm not sure he'll be too worried about that. He's made up a lot of time in the first half of this race, so he can be on cruise control from now.
Another thing too is because I've been doing commentary for about a year and a half now across various different series, various different platforms, like F1, Gran Turismo, etc. Sometimes some tires are just not good on specific circuits. Oh, and that's a punt! Fred Baldwin, I think, ran into the back of one of the 300s. I think that was Massimo?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, it was.
At the final corner, just rejoining now, but that was very scary for Borden. Again, damage that you don't need. Forte staying out, so clearly not worth repairing, but sometimes a little punt can just send you off into the barriers here.
Yeah, it's one way to get sent to the Shadow Realm, which is definitely a place you don't want to be in. I mean, so traffic management is a skill when you have multi-class racing like this. And a saying that I've picked up over my time as a commentator is, traffic giveth and traffic taketh away. And sometimes traffic can make or break your race. When it comes to this multi-class racing, you obviously need the pace, you obviously need the consistency, but you also need traffic management as well, because especially at this stage of the race, we're on lap 19 out of 25 right now. You need to really just pick a moment and get past this traffic. If you do it nicely and the person behind you struggles, then you're in a mighty good spot. If it's the other way around, though, you're in a bit of a pickle.
Yeah, we just had it. I was just watching Pennington just there trying to get through on, I believe it was miles per hour as they came through McLean's, and lost a lot of time there. Obviously, we'll be wanting to chase down Shepherd, and is making a little bit of progress. Went 8/10 quicker than Shepherd that lap, actually. So we'll have to see what happens this lap, because I think Maddie's getting a decent flyer in now. Our tyres, new tyres are up to temperature, so it is one to keep an eye on. I think the Jag probably has the pace, but running out of laps to do it.
Yeah, because I mean, sometimes when you think about like the hard tire versus the medium, and goes a bit wide for the Jag. Touching grass is a beautiful thing, but do not do it on a set of racing tires. You are not going to be happy with the results. But still, I mean, sometimes, because there's that certain crossover window where the medium tires are going to be quicker, where the hard tires are going to be quicker. And actually, speaking of tires, we'll just take a look at them. They're both on that same set of medium tires. But if they were on opposing set of tires, sometimes, because the harder the tire is, like, the medium is going to be better at the soft later on, and the hard is going to be better than the medium later on. But sometimes you just run out of time, and you really don't get to use that tire at its peak grip level because of just the time it takes.
Pennington is really, really wanting to return to where he was before the incident with Rodriguez at the start. Rodriguez is not going to be happy with what's happened this race so far. Was leading, currently down in P6, just trying to get by Forte here, getting held up, but chasing down McCain. So I think at the moment, Pennington easily the quickest on the track, doing a 134 dead, a couple of laps in a row, and even with that moment at the last corner, it was a 134 dead. So about half a second quicker than Shepherd, but now really starting to run out of laps to make that move. It's going to come down to traffic, I think. Wide moment, but able to get the power down on the way out, so we may able to make up for it.
Yeah, but there is that that Peugeot just directly behind. I don't think it's going to pose much of a threat because the Jaguar is pretty quick on that straight line speed. So we know the Jaguar running that powerful V12. It's got a good amount of speed, but so does Maddie in that Volvo. I mean, Maddie's been doing really good this race, but Pennington, like you said, is probably the quickest car on track at the moment. But Ishmael's still back here, putting up pressure onto McCain.
Sorry, he's cut in. McCain and Rodriguez side by side now. McCain just made a huge slide through the last corner, but look at the speed of the Jag. They're side by side, but the Jag pulls ahead. Rodriguez, very good brakes on that Nissan. I do know that that car does have very good brakes. They put a lot of development into that for this season. Gets the move done. It's paid off.
Actually, I was lucky enough to catch it on camera, so I caught the slide of Kyle McCain on camera. So yeah, we did get to see firsthand that was definitely an unfortunate moment for the Jag, but very fortunate if you are Ishmael Rodriguez, doing fantastic work. He's not where he wanted to be. He started in the lead. Obviously, that contact at the lead that we just barely missed, and a bit of a slide, it looks like, through the corner for the Skyline here. The number 20 PlayStation Skyline. Yeah, it's
taking a look at the 300s for a moment. I think we've got Saavedra in world of their own, but if we take a look a little bit further down, we've got Bjork again in a world of their own. Not too much going on. We've got Onaze and Nutt have now separated, but we've got an incident there with Cook, Evelyn Cook and Terry Nutt at the final corner. Not sure what happened there, but this is near the front of CT300. Cook has been coming up from the back of the grid, I believe. Had an issue in qualifying and started from the back, so I think probably it's going to be this car, the Rover, that has the pace advantage over the Peugeot. So about 3 laps to do it. Not sure what just happened at the final corner, but Cook is probably looking to make progress here.
Yeah, Cook is up 7 positions from where she started. Currently in started in P21, now up to P14. Very good position gain there for the Rover. Looking to make up even more positions, because there's that power advantage that the Rover has over the Peugeot. So we'll see how this one plays, but it's going to be a bit of a wide moment for both cars, actually, as Evelyn Cook is trying to mount pressure here in the last few laps of this race here at Donington Park.
We've got something going on behind as well, I believe. A little bit of a battle with Broust. Not sure if Prow is part of that. But no, here we go. Cook with a run on Terry Nutt here as we head down to the hairpin. And they've got a Jag coming up to lap them behind. Not sure if this is Pennington behind. He's got to try and make progress, but these two are in a battle of their own. They don't have to get out of the way. Cook gets the move done. I'm pretty sure the Jag is going to sail by now as we head down to the final corner. Cook trying to let Pennington go. It gets so cagey with the traffic. It's not a big track, Donington. It's a very tight one. It's very twisty. And with this amount of cars, you know, it's not Le Mans. You don't have the Mulsanne straight to get by.
Yeah, I mean, we're down to about 3 laps left to go. And, I mean, honestly, like you said, I mean, because here's the thing, too, is that, I mean, obviously it is good racecraft if you're in a slower class to let the quicker class on by. But that is not super easy when you're basically battling for somebody in your class, trying to get these positions, and then you have a faster car behind. And sometimes, if your opponent isn't in a good enough position, your opponent can just really take advantage of it. And while you're being overtaken by that car, in this case by Pennington, then you can lose another spot to the guy you're just fighting with because you had to let that faster car through. So yeah, it's really
I'd rather be a 300 driver, though, to be honest, than a 450 driver, because I think letting people go and letting the faster car come by is easier than, you know, being the faster car. It's like when people talk about Le Mans, you know, being a hypercar is very clenching at times, trying to get by the slower traffic. But if you are the slower traffic, you know, it's they come by and they have to make it safe for themselves. So Pennington, patient there, I think, is the word. Not really a chance of getting Shepherd now, because Shepherd has been very quick in these last few laps. Shepherd has been absolutely rapid closing the gap to Borden for the lead. Not going to have time to get all the way, but has made up 7 or 8 seconds since the pit stops on Borden. Really pushing hard.
So just to put it into perspective, right? Shepherd was actually 2 seconds, or roughly about at least a second and a half, quicker than Pennington on the last lap. Actually, it is 2 seconds right on the dot, and a little under a second quicker than Fred Bawden on that last lap. So the Volvo, I think, now might be the quickest car on track here.
Yeah, Shepherd's found a rhythm, hasn't she? It can be, like I said, it doesn't necessarily depend on the tyres. I think if you find yourself in a rhythm and going quickly, there's no need to pit. You know, which is why I think Maddie went long. You could pit halfway through the race, but if you're putting in, you know, personal best times, she just went long. She went about 5 or 6 laps longer than everybody else. Got those good lap times in while everybody else is messing around with traffic. You know, she had clear air, and it's paid off. She's got that gap to Pennington. With a little bit more luck, maybe she might have been able to challenge Borden for the win, but she's definitely going to run out of laps here unless something catastrophic happens to Borden, which I'm not expecting.
Yeah, I'm not exactly expecting it either. I mean, Borden hasn't been the quickest car on track in these last few laps, but over the course of the race, he's been consistent in an older chassis. The Toyota is doing a very good job here to keep positions and just get through traffic effortlessly. And actually is building a slight gap to Maddie, but I think unless, like you said, unless Baldwin has an incident, gets stuck with traffic, I think this final lap is pretty much as good as done for the Toyota man up in front.
Yeah, he doesn't need to be the quickest now. That is enough of a buffer. If it were 2 seconds, he'd probably be a little scared, but it's over 3, so he can just bring it home this lap. So taking a look down the rest of the field, I don't think there's too much else in terms of battles going on. We do have Ishima. No, that's a lapped car that he's going by there. It's difficult to keep track of sometimes with who's lapped and who's not. We've got Toscanini, I think, is the closest battle right now.
You have Toscanini and Tyler Long now going at it. The Rover versus the Mazda RX-7. We'll see how this battle does play out. The leader is on the final lap of this race, though, so Fred Baldwin on the last lap here of round 1 of season 3 here at Donington for the Custom Tour Championship. And it has been a very fun race here today. We had a few minor tech issues at the start, but those are just some teething issues. This is the first time we've actually had a live stream here at CTC, so those are things that will just get better over time. Marcus Pennington has the best lap so far in the CT 450s, and Tito Savetta has had the best lap for the 300s, but making his way through the final set of corners now. It has been a strong drive from him. He started in 3rd, and now he has made his way to the top step of the podium here. It was an older chassis, a chassis that they had some doubts with coming into the season, but after Donington, they could scrub away some of those doubts as Fred Baldwin wins the first round here at Donington Park. He started in 3rd and made his way up, and Maddie will come home in P2 with Marcus Pennington rounding out the podium, and not too far behind. Actually, a bit of a way behind, but
Army in 4th. Sorry, the timing tower has gone a little bit strange with the end of the race and the lapped cars, but yeah, it will be Army in 4th. And I believe it is going to be Saavedra in the Renault 5 will be taking the win for CT300. He's halfway through his lap at the moment, so let's just take a look at him and see if he can bring it home. And he is still, as far as I'm aware, around one of the CT450s, so there might be a couple, 1 or 2 of the 450s that he's beating today. I do believe that is for position just ahead of him now. So we'll have to see how that goes, but again, dominant in the 300 class today. That Renault has been seen absolutely nobody from his class. There's a league of his own, really. Bridging that gap between 300 and 450, honestly, today. He'll hope he can keep that up through the season.
Indeed, yeah, because I mean, you can win one race, but if you don't have any other wins, then your chances of winning the championship are pretty slim. As I think he does get ahead of one of the GT450s at the end of this race. Yeah, it's Jules Wild. But coming across the line now, he has been down in his class. Like you said, nobody else saw him. It is victory here for Tito Sanverda in the win for the CT300 class, and it's been a strong drive, even a top 10 overall finish for the Renault, as we see a little bit of comedy at the end of the race here.
Yeah, shout out honestly to Ishima as well. We thought we were going to have Rodriguez being the sole Nissan up there, but Ishima doing well to stay alongside his Nissan compatriot there, so I think Nissan have put to bed any worries that they might have had for the season. They were very, very competitive, very unlucky to get taken out by, well, don't want to jump to conclusions, but it did look like it was a contact initiated by the Jag of Pennington. So maybe the stewards might have something to say about that today into the Melbourne Loop on lap 1. So may not be final results here, but Borden done the job. Wasn't the quickest in the end, but didn't need to be. Took advantage of the situation that came his way, pulled a massive gap on Shepherd, and then could just cruise to the line.
So indeed, we're going to go ahead and just run through our final finishing grid here overall. So it is Fred Baldwin taking the win in that Toyota Supra. And then is Matty Shepard, Marcus Pennington, Sal Lamy, Ismael Rodriguez. And then we have Kyle, Martin, Katie, Peter, and Tito going in rounding out our top 10. Tito being the winner in the CT300 class. And then it is going to the rest of the pack. It is Leonard, Mayonnaise, Evelyn Cook, who had a very strong recovery drive from P21 to get into 13th.
Very
then
good drive.
We have Terry Nutt, Elaine, Miles, Aurelio, Saber, I believe that is pronounced. And then we have Jules, Tyler, and then rounding out the rest of it, we do have Piotr Tadius. I'm going to need an actual pronunciation on that later on. But and then we have David, Patricia, Massimo, Jacob, Jordy, Chris, Lothar, Rodrigo. And then we have Maria, Mattia, Mateo, Joshua, Macy J. And then we have Felix, Joquan, and Samir rounding out. And then us two in the spectator cars.
Glad we didn't get in the way here today, but it's been a pleasure commentating. Can't wait for the rest of the season. I think there's going to be some, especially in the 450 as well. It was very close today. 300s, I think people like the Peugeots are going to have some work to do. But yeah, I don't think anybody can stop Tito at the moment. But in the 450s for the next round, I think it's all up in the air. Anyone could take it.
Indeed, yeah. And I mean, honestly, I'm really looking forward to the next race. I think it's going to be interesting just to see how this all plays out. Because, I mean, once again, it's only the first round of the season, and we still have quite a few more rounds left to go. Next week, we'll be in Spain for Jarma. And then the last race before the week-long break on September 28th, we head to Dragon Trail in Croatia. So that'll be an interesting track for us to go to. But once again, on behalf of Sam, my name is Patrick Coleman, and we have been your hosts and commentators for today's race. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe. Share this race if you haven't already. And we will see you guys next time in Spain. Have a good night.